morning, traders. I am Emily Advani, the CEO of the Investment Banking Institute and your host here at NewsWare's Trade Talk. Joining me is trading anchor Bill Olson, who brings more than 30 years of institutional trading experience to our program. At Trade Talk, we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Today is Monday, May 5th. Stocks are off to a strong start to May after all three major indices closed solidly in the green on Friday for a second session in a row. The S&P 500 clawed back from its tariff talk losses and posted a ninth winning session in a row, its best run in more than 20 years. The average added 82 points, or about 1.5%. The Dow climbed 564 points, or 1.39%. The Nasdaq popped 266 points, or more than 1.5%. Bill, let's get into a new week and today's action with what is happening in the markets this morning.
Yes, good morning, Emily. I'm watching the S&Ps. We're down 0.7%, 0.70% this morning. It's going to be an active week. More trade talks, central bank meetings, a host of key earnings are coming out this week. There could be some trade agreements reached. Japan, India, South Korea are likely to be happening shortly. And apparently the European trade talks are also going to be continuing this week. And Europe does have a deal to talk to the U.S. about, which could be positive. But the biggest headline over the weekend came from OPEC as they indicated that additional production hikes are being considered. There's a big rift going on between Saudi Arabia and some of the other oil-producing countries like Kazakhstan and Iraq, because they're overproducing. So that's causing them, some issues. And OPEC, they're going to show their dominance in that marketplace. Also, over the weekend, we heard from Warren Buffett, who said he's retiring. The guy's 95 years old. He's going to retire at the end of the year. President Trump announced some tariffs on foreign-made movies yesterday. On the economic front, the key indicator today is that ISM services data that's coming out. On the earnings front, we got earnings from Lowe's, stocks trading a little higher. We got earnings from CNA, which missed. ZBH, Zimmo Biomed, stocks trading off slightly, about 0.1%. And then you're looking overseas, and I got to tell you, the action was very muted. The DAX is higher. The DAX is higher by 0.65%. Earnings, trade talks, central bank meetings, that's really the focus there. And in Paris, that market's down 0.63%. There's the weakness is mainly due to the luxury sector, which is getting a lot of downgrades lately. But London was closed. London's closed. The FTSE's closed for a holiday. And then you look over in Asia, the Nikkei was closed for a holiday. They're also closed tomorrow. Hong Kong was closed for a holiday. China was closed for a holiday. So there wasn't a whole lot of action happening in Asia. And Europe, there's a lack of volume going on. But then we turn our attention over to oil, because oil is really the big story. We got WTI trading at $57.38 a barrel. That's down 1.5%. Brent crude is trading at $60.48. That's down 1.31%. I mean, OPEC Plus is planning to accelerate their oil output hikes, increase their production. And they may fully unwind that 2.2 million barrels per day of voluntary production cuts by the end of October, early November, if members like Iraq and Kazakhstan don't improve compliance with their production quotas. And that's really, given some weakness again to oil, because oil was down 18% during the month of April. It was down 1.5% on Friday. And, today we're seeing weakness of about 1.4% this morning. So oil continues to be weak. And that's what I have for you in terms of a morning market update, Emily.
Bill, there's really a little bit of everything when it comes to market moving news today and throughout the week. You did give us the top level highlights in terms of economic events, at least one report worth watching today, along with anticipating central bank meetings throughout the week. We continue to monitor tariff talks along with earnings action. So we're going to get to all those details throughout today's show, starting first with earnings action. Bill, give us a rundown of what is going on there.
Foods came out with a beat at 10 cents, but it was done on lower revenue. That stock's down a little over 2% this morning. And Cummins, they beat by $1.04, but they only met revenue expectations. That stock's down 2.2% this morning. After the bell today, we got Vertex Pharmaceutical, which they have an EPS of $4.22. Expected move is 4.77%. And you have Palantir, PLTR there. EPS is 13 cents. Expected move is 14.26% when they release after the bell this morning, Emily.
A quick note that Palantir was your pick of the day on Friday. We are looking ahead to those earnings, but we will look back and see how Friday went with that pick of the day by the end of the show. We're going to get to economic events now. Bill, you did give us a preview of one of those economic reports to be watching, and we have plenty on the economic front this week. So what is going on in terms of economic
At
events?
10 a.m., we get the ISM services PMI for April. That's going to be the key one. That's what everyone's going to be watching. I also see that Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, he's going to be speaking today at 11 a.m. That could be interesting. And, there could be trade talks going on this week with respect to Europe and between Europe and the U.S. Apparently, Europe is considering resolving its trade dispute with the U.S. by purchasing 50 billion euros worth of American goods, such as liquefied natural gas and soybeans. That would reduce the trade balance, and hopefully that could, reduce the tariffs that President Trump has put on European goods. But that's positive. But we also got to think ahead, and we got to think about the FOMC meeting that is this week. Starts tomorrow with a announcement on Wednesday. Listen, I don't think there's going to be any changes to interest rates. I mean, that's pretty clear, laid out. But Powell's press conference is going to really be, focused on the timing and conditions for future policy moves. Now, there could be a rate cut in June. July seems a little more likely, but we'll have to wait and see. But that's happening this week as well. And that's what I have for you in terms of an economic update, Emily.
And you'll be following all of that information using your NewsWare as that announcement comes out on Wednesday. You'll see it hit the tape. You see lots of information as it comes out, not just those earnings releases and the economic events, but also other types of news coming out of different sectors and segments. Every morning, you look at your NewsWare and follow news in categories like merger news, guidance news, shareholders meetings, buyback news, catalyst calls. You also look at your stocks grouped together like your FANG stocks and your Dow 30 stocks. So, Bill, what else do you see is possibly moving the markets
Just doing a quick
today?
data check. I'm looking at my Dow stocks. I got 2 higher, 27 lower, and 1 unchanged. So, we're really seeing some weakness this morning. Now, you're looking at your FANG stocks that are all trading lower as well. Some news behind it, like Amazon. They compete with the PDD, that TermU. And TermU is said to be cutting ad spending by 31% in the last 2 weeks. That's kind of positive for Amazon. But Amazon's down 1.4% this morning. Google is trading lower, this morning by 0.85%. They're training their AI products with content after publishers opted out of working with Google. Netflix, it's getting hit this morning. It's down 6%. And that happened after President Trump ordered 100% tariffs on foreign-made movies and films. So that's not positive. That's showing some weakness there for Netflix. In terms of Dow Jones 30, the key one really is Chevron. I mean, Chevron's down 1.26% this morning, and that weakness is really due to the OPEC announcement about production hikes, which means there's going to be more oil available. What else? We have Disney. Disney is down 3.51%. That's leading the Dow lower this morning. Earnings are out this week. That Thunderbolt movie did have a positive release, but people are looking forward. People are really looking at the Disney, and they're looking at the movie tariffs that Trump ordered, and they're expecting pushback as well. Apple, ticker AAPL, they're expecting a thin iPhone and a foldable iPhone may be released in the fall of next year, is really what it looks to, according to one report. Then we got guidance news. We got, TSN, Tyson Foods. They see full year 2025 revenue flat to up 1% as compared to 2024. In terms of shareholders meetings, Uber is having a shareholders meeting today at 8 a.m. And Lilly's having one at 8:30 a.m. Ticker LLY. Those are 2 to keep an eye on. And that's really what I have for you in terms of news hitting the tape this morning, Emily.
This is the type of data that NewsWare delivers daily. It's factual, it's market moving, and our alerting functions bring it to your attention as it happens. Go to www.newsware.com now and sign up for the trial and see for yourself the benefits that professional NewsWire delivers. We've now made it to that time of the show for the Trade Talk pick of the day. Bill, a solid start to the month here with the pick of the day. We're going to continue on with this Monday. What is your pick of the
challenging
day today?
because of all the red I'm seeing on my screen. But I got to go with DigitalOcean, ticker DOCN, David Oscar Charlie Nancy. Earnings are out tomorrow morning. EPS is 45 cents. Expected move is 13.21%. They gave good guidance last quarter. And, you look at the call volume from Friday, 936 calls. Now, that's against 458 puts, almost 2-1. And then you look at the open interest of 38,000 versus the put open interest of 17,000. That's positive. And the major brokers do like it. They are positive on the stock. But, the real key is that entry price. Stocks trading 31.75 to 32.40, so $32 or under. I'll say 31.80 to 32 is really my target range there. But that's what I like for today. DigitalOcean, ticker DOCN, David Oscar Charlie Nancy on an earnings play, Emily.
Another earnings play today. That would be your third earnings play in a row, looking for a specific entry point. And we will check in with you just a moment about Friday's pick of the day, which was also an earnings play, as we pointed out. So stick with us. But ahead of that, let's take a look at the current breaking headlines that have hit the tape in our hot off the press segment. Bill, sending it back to you.
Okay, what do we got? Disney or Apple, Apple kicks off a 4-part U.S. dollar corporate bond sale. Booz Allen BAH selected by NGA to deliver data analytics. Mara Holdings, ticker MARI, produced 705 Bitcoin in April. Johnson & Johnson, ticker JNJ. This is interesting because the stock is flat to higher this morning, but they announced some new data from a new study that they just came out with, which was positive. Sky Leasing announces the acquisition of JetBlue Ventures. Here's one that's interesting. NVO, Novo Nordisk. The FDA accepted its filing for an oral GLP-1 treatment for obesity. That's hot news. The oral treatments that, listen, the injections, the shots for the weight loss drugs, not really, difficult for people to keep up with, unlike a pill. So, Novo Nordisk is coming out with a pill for, the weight loss drug. That's really positive. Stock's trading higher this morning. So, that's good news for NVO, Nancy Victor Oscar. PIMS, they're going to be releasing after the bell their EPS. Their expected move is $7.90 when they released after the bell today. Some news on Alibaba. 2 Republican lawmakers have urged the SEC to delist Chinese companies, including Alibaba, that they say have military links that put U.S. national security at risk. Never talked anything else. United Airlines CEO said on Friday that the carrier will begin canceling 35 flights a day, or about 10% at its Newark hub airport, started this weekend due to government equipment failures and air traffic control and staffing issues. Remember, Trump canceled a bunch of the staffing issues, so this is a direct result. You're going to see airfares going higher. That's all I'm seeing this morning, Emily.
Okay, Bill, before we dive into a new week of trading, let's take a quick look back on Friday. And your pick of the day was Palantir. As I mentioned earlier in the show, you did tell us their earnings are out this afternoon. On Friday, I saw a steady climb in the stock. And I also, over the weekend, caught a number of articles about the company's growth over the last few months or so, its ability to continue to rise in the Trump administration, even given the challenges when it comes to, these macroeconomic issues like tariffs, and the CEO's overall enthusiasm about the company. So, Bill, did you have enthusiasm for this one?
It was a winner. Let's just look at the numbers. The stock opened up at $118.66 and it ran to $124.75 and closed at $124.28. It's trading $123.95, but that opening print of $118.66 to where it is now, that beats the 1% goal, by multiple percentage points. So, yeah, PLTR, Paul, Larry, Tom, Richard, that was a winner. That was a winner on Friday, Emily.
Another solid win there. Again, a solid start to the month. And we will check in with you tomorrow about today's DigitalOcean pick of the day, see if we can keep the streak going. Bill, thank you as always for your expert insight. Join us back here tomorrow and each weekday morning this week at NewsWare's Trade Talk when we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Again, I'm your host, Emily Vani, here with trading anchor Bill Olson. Traders, you know what to do. Let's go out there and make some green.